time.
Go ahead and take your dry January elsewhere. That's how we feel. We needed an active storm pattern. We're not going to get that.
Ooh.
The positioning of the ridge, keeping things pretty tricky and very dry. We love clear skies.
Yeah,
we saw some of them at the Great Salt Lake. Thank you, Scott, for sharing that. But a bulk of us, we're dealing with that valley haze. Time-lapse video coming from Cache Valley as you look at the base of the mountain. It continues to build tonight. And as we trek into our Tuesday, you see the clouds sneaking underneath the ridge. We call that a dirty ridge. And yeah, that's the setup. Take a look. This is what we grabbed earlier from just around the region. You can't see the Salt Lake Valley. Utah Lake doesn't look great. Cache Valley definitely with that haze. And then as you look from Alta into the valley, you just see that inversion layer. So really, the inversion layer continues to build. It's made it to the benches where we have that haze, and you notice it, and it's climbing into our mountain valleys where the Wasatch Back was dealing with moderate air at this hour. Southern Utah is a different story. They have a nice warming trend, and how about this bird's eye view? Jerry, you really outdid it today. Look how great that looks. Phenomenal. As you look down on St. George and you see the Pine Valley Mountains in the corner. Great shot there. They saw temperatures climb into the upper 50s today. Down the road in Ivins, clear skies there. They were matching temperatures with St. George as the sun went down with clear skies. Highs along the Wasatch Front, we struggled to make it to 40. You see a lot of 30s there. 58 for the high in St. George, which is above average. 30s and 40s on the eastern side of the state. Notice how southwestern Wyoming, which seems always colder than Salt Lake, was in the upper 40s as we were really struggling. So we look at the temperatures into tonight. We're already freezing, and we're going to be dropping into the 20s. Now, this time tomorrow, we could be talking about some nocturnal fog because that is another inversion winner that we get, a prize that comes through. Who invited the inversion back? Wasn't me. This high pressure and its positioning, not my friend. You see those clouds sneaking underneath the ridge. This high actually brings subsidence, sinking air, and usually that brings clear skies. But this time of year, we get dry air, and this acts as a storm block. Our jet stream gets pushed further north, and so storms end up going around us, not just us, the west. And that's the setup we're dealing with. You don't want to spend too much time outdoors when the inversion continues to worsen. So the haze each day gets worse and worse. We know we see short-term symptoms when you are outside for a long period of time, and of course the long-term symptoms and issues that we see. It's not healthy. We don't want elevated particulate matter. We don't want to be dealing with it, but we will be as we head into tomorrow with unhealthy air for sensitive groups forecast. In Salt Lake County, moderate air for the rest of the Wasatch Front. Wasatch County, so the Wasatch Back, also looking at moderate air and elevated particulate matter in Box Elder County into Willa County. Cleaner on the eastern side of the state for tomorrow. That includes Grand County, and then we slide down south where Washington and Iron County also will continue with the warming trend as high pressure builds and really brings those numbers up. Upper level future cache shows this high over the west. Storms going around us, so we stay stagnant. And typically, if we didn't have inversion this time of year, we would warm up, but not the case. Now, as we get into Friday and Saturday, there's a trough that moves to our east, and it changes things a little bit. This is a glimmer of hope. It's called a backdoor cold front that could bring enough mixing and wind to clear the inversion. Well, I'm not super confident, but at least to take the edge off, which would be nice, especially because this week it's going to get pretty rough. High pressure, though, you see, stays for the foreseeable future here. And as we look at the 6 to 10 day, that dry pattern doesn't want to budge. It's not just us, it's the west, but we don't love it. The warmth stays as well with above average temperatures. It's January, for goodness sake. And we're talking about numbers in St. George and close to 60, hitting 60. Regional forecast showing 30s and 40s for tomorrow. The inversion moderates our high, which is why your phone would be like, we're making it to the mid 40s, but we're only looking at upper 30s. 40s and 50s on the eastern side of the state. 40s along the I-15 corridor, 58 in St. George. Speaking of Washington County, there's that warming trend at play, getting to the 60s by Thursday. Sunshine, dry conditions. There's MLK Day, hitting 60 in the south. Bone dry. Okay, maybe in southern Utah you think, okay, but in the north, not good. Hazy through the work week. That's going to turn into smog by the middle of the week. We're looking at unhealthy air. The setup stays the same. We see those temperatures maybe budging a little based on the winds by Friday, getting us into the 40s. But until then, boo!
Yeah.
Go home. We didn't invite you. Boo! You got to heckle the inversion. Do anything to get it out of here.